I'm Chastity Westry, a student of University of West Alabama, and I will be discussing the effects of collaboration on math proficiency in the classroom. The problem this study will address is the poor performance in the subjects of math amongst third grade students at Gilliard Elementary. Research and studies show that students who are introduced to collaborating and group problem solving skills in a classroom setting will increase in academic achievement. So if you look at the data chart I have, it's of math EQT data, which is end of the quarter assessment. It shows data school-wide, grade level-wise, and individual teacher data. This data reflects math, of course, the subject of math. Well, the district proficiency level is at least 70%. They want every child to be at 70% proficient. Well, if you look, the school is below 70%, they're at 68, the grade level is at 42%, and the teacher data is at 42%. So the question is, how can we get these percentages to increase to reach proficiency or close to proficiency? Some background knowledge on this proposal. Amongst other grade levels, third grade is a difficult transition from lower grades. Many students who didn't struggle before struggle now more than ever. So students who are in a classroom that exhibits collaboration and are engaged and thoroughly discuss topics in depth using creativity, collaborative teaching techniques have gained prominence in state standards. Educators and researchers are constantly brainstorming strategies that will help collaboration be more active amongst students in the classroom. So my sampling method and description. The population will consist of third grade students enrolled at Gilliard Elementary. I will choose my population amongst 46 students, but they will be split into a control group and an experimental group randomly. Those groups will be named Block 1 and Block 2. The experimental group will go through 6 weeks of instruction that includes collaborative learning using project-based learning activities. The control group will continue using their current curriculum that focuses on critical third grade standards. I will be using a pre-task, post-task, and project-based learning. Project-based learning is the curriculum that I plan to implement. It is a teaching method in which students learn by actively engaging in real-world and personal meaningful projects. The pre-task will be given at the beginning of the instructional period, and the post-task will be given at the end of the instructional period. The post-task will hopefully display the results needed to show that student achievement did increase. So the post-task will be a summative assessment. A collaborative resource I'll be using is project-based learning. That's the curriculum that I'll be implementing to increase student achievement. This is a common collaborative tool used in most 21st century classrooms. It allows individuals to work together towards a situation or problem. So when the students are introduced to a standard, they'll be able to work with that standard using real-world problems. The teacher implementing this resource will have received explicit instruction on project-based learning and will be certified. The classroom teacher will implement this collaborative teaching strategy into third grade daily math instruction over a 6-week period to Block 1 while conducting the regular curriculum for Block 2. So the post-task will consist of material that was constructed from results of the pre-task. So when the students take the pre-task at the beginning of the instructional period, I will know what standards to focus on when completing this project-based learning curriculum and then our regular curriculum that's already in place. The study will begin by administering a pre-task, is what we just discussed. During this 6-week period, students in Block 1 will receive instruction on 3 critical third grade standards using project-based learning as an instructional foundation. The introduction introduces a problem-solving and reasoning skills. It allows students opportunities to collaborate with their peers on a topic and to solve problems through different perspectives. During this period, students are receiving critical feedback from their peers while learning from one another through the process. After this 6-week instructional period, students will be given that post-task assessment that was, the post-task assessment will resemble the critical standards that were taught. Some internal and external validity. The pre-task assessment will help the classroom teacher identify what third grade critical standards are most challenging. The post-task will show the impact collaborative learning has in the classroom on math proficiency percentages. All project-based learning activities will be conducted by a certified classroom teacher. Participants in Block 1 will receive the same level of instruction using collaborative and group problem solving skills from PBL, which is project-based learning. Both blocks will be asked the same variety of questions and will be completing the same skills during the pre-task and post-task to collect data. Some ethical considerations, limitations, and confidentiality. The students will sign a waiver and confidentiality agreement that states that their names will not be used during the project. Both blocks will consist of students being assigned a number. So they'll be identified by a number, not by their names. A limitation to consider is that Gilliard is a Title I school. It's inner city. Over 80% of the school's population come from low-income homes. Therefore, many of their parents work multiple jobs and they're not home to assist students with academics, or a lot of them don't even have transportation, and that could play a significant role in the validity of the project. So if they don't have any transportation, they can miss a significant amount of days, which would interfere with the 6-week instructional period that the students need to receive in order for the plan of action to be effective. So let's look at the results. So if this plan was implemented, I created some percentages based off reality. So let's look at the school data. For quarter 1, it started off at 68%. For quarter 2, after completing the post-task, students were now school-wide, they were now at 70%, which they are proficient district-wise. Well, let's look at the grade level data. So let's look at the third grade. Overall, third grade started at 42% for quarter 1, and after undergoing that 6-week instructional period implementing project-based learning, their scores increased to 56% proficient. So they're not yet there at that 70%, but reality, we can't expect them to jump from 42% all the way to 70 when this is a new curriculum being implemented. Project-based learning requires consistency. So hopefully by quarter 3, the grade level will show 70% of proficiency, or even higher. Definitely by fourth quarter should be a lot higher, above 70. And let's look at the individual teacher data. The data jumped at least 20%. So they're at 64. They're almost at 70. So we can say that after a period of collaboration and group problem solving skills being implemented, proficiency percentages did increase, and that's exactly what we wanted. Some changes that I would make and deviate from the original plan is I would implement project-based learning school-wide and not just across third grade. I chose third grade because that's the grade level I work with, and that's the grade level that I had data on, and it was the lowest of the low. Out of all the other grade levels, third grade was at 42%, and they were the lowest. I would choose a more complex formal assessment to conduct research, such as a presentation or a project that exemplifies their understanding of the standards, because that's what project-based learning is. It's not just a written test. It would be, the post-task could have been a presentation on how they would use this learned standard in a real-world situation. Plus, I think it would be more engaging and the students would put more effort into it because it's showing their creativity. They're using what they know. And another thing I would do is group students by academic level instead of randomizing my population. So early in the presentation, I stated that I would choose 46 third graders and split them up into 2 blocks, and I would choose them randomly. But if I was to complete this plan of action again, I would group the students by academic level. who's considered high, who's considered in the middle, and who's considered low. I would group them like that just to see if project-based learning does affect math proficiency. How would it affect children that are considered advanced for their grade level? How would it affect children that are considered below their grade level? Is that a great tool to use for students who are struggling? Will it help the strugglers, or will it cause more confusion? Is project-based learning, giving the advanced students some type of competition? Is it making them spin the wheel? So I would definitely group the students by academic level instead of randomizing, because I think I could get better results. And that is my presentation. Thank you.